What's going on, everybody? KSA Kris here, the Real Estate Blitz. Oh my gosh, it looks like we already got some comments popping up. So we had some people looking forward to this video. We just went live official on Facebook. I'm excited about this one today because, as you know, the Real Estate Blitz, it's really about real estate, but it's been mostly centrally focused around real estate agents, real estate brokers, things like that. But every time I posted up anything about real estate investing, it just went wildfire online. I got thousands of views, thousands of comments. So I wanted to start just peppering in some stuff, and that's more real estate related when it comes to investing. One of the biggest guys that I know that's in the industry is Michael Quarles. I've been wanting to get him on for a while. I've known Michael now for, I don't know, 7, 8 years, somewhere around there. I think I can't even remember. Maybe it's been 5 years, 6 years, somewhere. I know it's been a minute, right? So I've been wanting to get Michael's. Yeah, not long enough, right? I've been wanting to get him on here. If you don't know who he is an absolute powerhouse. Started off in real estate investing when he was a teenager, picked up an R2 property, went out there, actually created a multi-unit property with it, and he's been running ever since. When I first ran into Michael Quarles, I had heard his podcast. If you haven't listened to it, you got to listen to his podcast. We'll talk about that as we go. But I started listening to his podcast, and I was told to listen to him by a friend of mine, Sean Terry, when I was out visiting him in Arizona. And this is one of the coolest things. If you're looking for wholesaling information, if you're looking for wholetailing information, if you're looking for how to find motivated sellers, if you really want to learn how to get on the phone and negotiate and beat somebody down on the price, or actually try to come up with a win-win situation where it's a win for them, it's a win for you, this is where you got to be. You got to go listen to Michael Quarles. His podcast is hot. Only on top of that, I was using his products before I knew who he was. I was using yellowletters.com. I was actually purchasing all of my direct mail and stuff through yellowletters.com, and that's how I think Michael saw some of my comments. Ended up giving me a call on my cell phone, which was cool. And this was back when I worked in this really crappy little 600 square foot office. I had my team of 3 people. We were really destroying the world. Our cars got broken into every day because we were in the ghetto. And here it is years later, completely different business. So I'm excited. Michael, thank you so much for getting on. I kind of give you an intro, but if you could do everybody a favor and just tell them a little bit about you first before I get going.
Sure. Thanks for having me, by the way. I started in the real estate investing business when I was an adult teenager. As you said, an R2 lot. I had no clue what an R2 lot was. I was waiting for the Air Force. I had enlisted. My enlist date was like 3 months out. And so I picked up the newspaper, looked in the classified section. By the way, for those of us that don't know what a newspaper is, it's something we used to read for news. And there was an R2 lot, the only piece of property I ever bought through a real estate professional. He was a realtor over at Century 21. Called him up, asked him what an R2 lot was. He told me what it was. I decided to go ahead and buy it. Didn't realize that they wanted a deposit check that was cashable. Didn't realize that you couldn't start building on a property that you didn't own or close escrow on yet. But I fell in love with dirt and called my recruiter, said, "Can I get out of the Air Force?" He said, "Sure." And here I am.
Right on.
Probably easily over 1,000 houses later.
Wow.
I just love it. I love everything about real estate.
Well, I think, there's just so many different variations and angles that you can get into. Whether it's, I got a nice sized team, whether it's just getting on and drilling the phones, whether it's the negotiations, whether it's the contracts. Like my wife, she's real big into the nerdy contract stuff. And she's like our legal compliance to the point where like brokers call her to ask questions. You can, me, I'm a hunter. I always have been. So I want to go out and find the motivated sellers. I want to, I like the high anxiety of trying to put the deal together. Not everybody's into that, but I mean, there's just so many angles, whether you're an agent, whether you're a broker, whether you're an investor, whether you're flipping paper. And of course, there's always the age old debate, if you're a wholesaler, are you an investor? So, if you're going to wholetail, if you're going to fix and flip, buy and hold, there's just so many angles. And what's really cool, and I think not enough people know this, but literally no matter where you are in your life, whether you're just working a regular job, whatever it is you're doing, if you're in the military, I have a lot of military guys that hit me up on the Real Estate Blitz and they're looking to change their lives. You can become involved in some form of investing within real estate that could help you change your life, whether it's now, whether it's 8 years from now, whatever that might be. So I think you're probably one of the most well-rounded individuals, and you give probably, in my opinion, you give the best content that's out there because you hit all of those different facets. There's a lot of podcasts where they're nichey and pitchy, and I'm not afraid of being pitched. I like products. I like to buy stuff that's going to help me. And I do a lot of reviews. I do a ton of reviews on the Real Estate Blitz. In fact, a majority of my viewership comes from those reviews that I do. But I love what you do, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show. So I'm so glad you got on today.
I'm glad to be here too. Speaking of about it is, I have several students that protect us, keep us alive, and because they're deployed or they're busy, we actually answer their phone for them, so they don't have to retrieve the call. They can go do what's important to calls they can go out on.
So that's kind of cool. So what you're basically saying is that if somebody is actually, I'm probably going to try to introduce you to him. I have a guy that's out in 29 Palms, and he found me on YouTube. As a matter of fact, and he works a full-time job. He just got out of the military. He's getting training, but he wants to do investing part-time when he has availability. So basically what you said is that, you can do this part-time as well. Is that correct?
Right. Absolutely. The transaction, there's only about 10 hours worth of work, right?
Right.
I mean, by the time we see the seller, we meet the inspectors out there, we put it on the market, we resell it. There's about 10 hours. And I know every time we cash out, we're making close to $30,000 net, which are like little deals. But I mean, if you can do that every 10 hours, sorry about that.
Yep.
Not a bad thing. And
cool. So
people, don't get rid of your day job, the thing that's supporting you, until you can make twice as much money as you're making now that you've put in the bank. So you've reserved it for the future.
Yeah, that makes great sense. And I think I kind of did the same thing when I started breaking into this. I was still active duty in the military. I started going full-time in investing. I had been flipping properties prior, but I think when I first met you and I first started talking to you, I was like, holy crap, I thought I knew what I was doing, and I really have no freaking idea. So I want to get into a little bit of that. A lot of the people that watch Real Estate Blitz, most of them are real estate agents or real estate brokers, and they want to get into investing, but they don't understand the investing terms. And I usually tell them, try to either start listening or get to your local real estate investor clubs, groups. But I maybe real quick before we get going, we can break down the different variations that they really want to know about. So in your opinion, what is wholesaling? What is wholesaling?
Well, let's go over the first five.
Okay.
And before wholesaling, there's a signing. So that's basically putting the house under contract and selling the right to buy that house to somebody else. So you're selling the contract itself. You're not selling real property. Wholesaling and assigning kind of get confused.
Right.
Wholesaling is you've actually bought it lower than value. We like 65 to 70 cents on the dollar. And then reselling that to another person at a reduced value, not at 100%. That person's going to fix it and do whatever with it, either flip it or turn it into passive income. Wholetailing is buying something at 65 cents on the dollar, as is value, not ARV, selling it at 100 cents on the dollar of as is value, not ARV, selling it via a real estate professional, broker, agent, realtor, and concurrent closing it. So
awesome.
We're putting it under contract, selling it. Fix and flipping is you're buying it at a reduced value, fixing it up to an ARV value, a future value, and either selling it or passive income. And then you have the passive income models. And on them, there are several. So we can have seller financing, we have lease options, we can just keep it as a rental. So I love it. I love it all.
Oh yeah, there's just so many different variations.
Now, I used to be a big fix and flipper, so I was at Home Depot every morning. In fact, I could, if I wore the wrong color shirt, people would be asking me where nuts and bolts are. I got tired of that, so now I'm a big-time wholetailer, so where I want to lock a property up, concurrent close it to an end buyer. And that end buyer, because we're kind of dealing below median, our sellers aren't high-end sellers, they're low-end sellers. So because we're dealing under median, my buyer is either an investor who's going to fix it up and rent it out or sell it, or a homeowner that's going to do some sweat equity. Either one of those are okay. Most of the buyers come with cash, so I don't have any seasoning issues on my buyer when I turn around and concurrent close it. So it's a good model.
Right. And, I remember the first time you asked me what my opinion was on wholesaling, and you said, what do you think wholesaling is to you? And I told you what I thought, and you're like, yeah, but no. That's not it at all. And you know, I became a huge fan, and I actually preach it quite a bit now. So within our team, we basically, you know, because we have agents, but we go after motivated sellers that, and I have three business models. Basically, we can purchase your home in cash. We can help you renovate to sell your home. So basically, we're investing our money. We get our money at close of escrow, and we'll renovate it in order to get it to ARV, or we'll just sell it and at its retail cost. I am a huge fan of wholetailing, and I know a lot of people that watch me on YouTube when I talk about it, they get really confused. So this is what I love about wholetailing. I think there's two parts. For one, it works in any market. It's a little bit nicer for me because I'm in the San Diego market, really Southern California market, but mostly in San Diego where I do it because I have such a large spread. I picked up a property. Lady walks up to me at the gym. She walks up to me at the gym. Her husband had just passed away. She has a issue with her neighbor, and talking about easements. And she had just I think it expired. Her property expired, and she just wanted to sell it for cash. I says, great. You know, what are you looking to sell it for? What are you looking to get out of it? Considering that I go through my elevator pitch, I'm taking it as is condition, blah, 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 right? And she says, well, you know, I was thinking, and I don't know the property. I didn't even look at it. She says, well, I was thinking, you know, I could do probably around 570,000. I says, wow, can you do better than that? And, you know, and I did that 3 times, and then I start working her down the list. And I says, well, again, considering that, you know, you're not paying for an agent, this and that, I didn't even know what the property was. I just want to see that she would move. Right. Once she moved, I looked it up, and I got her down to 540,000. In its as is condition, it was worth 620,000. Right. ARV was 740,000. I didn't even sweep that thing out. I didn't even sweep it out. Yeah, why bother? Right. Why even bother? I didn't even sweep it out. I put a sign right out front. I says, as we were doing the paperwork, I says, look, I am going to try to make a profit. I am going to sell it. You know, I'm going to give you exactly to the penny what I said I was going to give you. I had her sign the paperwork. I walked down and knocked on the neighbor's door. It turned out the only reason they had these easement issues because he just didn't like her. I says, well, here's the thing. You want her to leave? He says, yes, I do. Fantastic. I need you to sign some paperwork with me real quick. So it says that you're good with what's going on. I'm buying it. I'm paying for it in cash. He says, fantastic. Signed the paperwork, and it was great. It was done. So made a hell of a profit for really not that much work. And a lot of it was because of you.
It's actually a lot of work because you've had to get to where you're at right now. Which was
that's true. Right? You know what? I will buy that. Getting to where I am now and what I know, it sucked. I remember the first time you and I were on the phone and we were just doing basic role playing on the phone. I had an emotional shutdown. Now, keep in mind, here I was, been in the Marine Corps for 20 plus years, been to combat multiple times in Iraq and Afghanistan, did a whole lot of trigger pulling. I had never seen anything that had scared me ever. And I had an emotional shutdown. I felt like a child. I didn't know what the hell to say. And it was one of the best learning experiences of my life. In fact, I beat up, before you join our team, I make our agents do the same damn thing, and I run them through because I learned more from doing that than I had learned from anything else. So yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
You know, the other thing I like about the wholesale model, not that it's profitable and it's easy, it's fast, but you can do it anywhere. I can buy something in Florida, and New York, and Tennessee, and Texas. I don't have to be there because the model allows me to be there virtually. So I'm going to have my boots on the ground, and those boots are pretty awesome guys and gals. They're real estate professionals. That's my main boot, and I'm going to give that person 6.5% of my deal. I don't care, and I want them to, on the selling side, I want the 3.5 to go to them, and I want the 3 to go to the listing side. I'm going to have an appraiser. I'm going to have a home inspector, and that's it. I don't need anybody else.
Right.
And I don't have to pay them until I close. So
let's talk about that, because what I've always found fascinating, and I've been trying to pitch this to a lot of agents, if you can figure out how to find motivated sellers, right? If you can figure out how to find motivated sellers, which every real estate agent, that's like the big struggle. Well, that's not the big struggle is their commitment, but you know, that's neither here nor there. We talk about that too. But if they're committed and they're actually going after it, it's a matter of sitting down, doing the prospecting, and finding motivated sellers so they can get the listing. In my opinion, if they actually sat down and studied and researched and became a master of going after true motivated sellers. So basically going to somebody like you and saying, teach me how to go find these individuals. Because in order to get to the point where you wholesale, or even purchase it to fix and flip it, you have to find these individuals. Now, you can't get them through other wholesalers, but imagine if you go out and do it on your own. And I still, within our own business, to go out and find the listings, and we're carrying We usually carry anywhere from 40 to 60 listings at any given time. Those are my boards. I don't think you can see them, but my boards are behind me. And my thing is we use the same model as far as investing. So if somebody was looking to go out and start trying to find motivated sellers, what are your recommendations? Like what's Michael Quarles' tips and tricks on that?
Well, I think before you decide to do that, you have to decide where you're going to do it, right?
Okay.
Because let's face it, some parts of the United States I wouldn't want to buy a house in. It's too cold, it's too rainy, it's too something. So I'm going to look at the large metro areas, and there's about 240 of them in the country. And then I'm going to run an algorithm on the metro area I choose. And I may choose 2 or 3, and I want to get the best one because my marketing dollar is limited no matter who we are. So I want to go in there, I'm going to run an algorithm. What I'm looking for are things like how many single families per zip code. If it's over 10,000, I'm not going there. How many REOs are there? How many pre-foreclosures are there? What my average days on market is, what my median value is, how many of my median value houses have an equity position of 30% or greater. And then I'm going to chop that into thirds. I want to know the bottom third, the middle third, and the top third. And then I'll ask myself another question. Do I have sideways steppers? Can I go from a tenant to a homeowner? Because what happens is I can convince someone that's paying $2,000 in rent to pay $2,000 in a mortgage payment, right?
Right. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
pretty simple. I can't convince someone who's paying $2,000 in rent to pay a $4,000 mortgage payment real easily, right?
Right.
So I need the area to make sense that way too. Then I run my algorithm. I pick my favorite zip codes, not the ones that I think are pretty, but the ones that buyers and sellers think are pretty, and I start hitting that hard. And what I have found out a long time ago is real estate doesn't care if you're white, black, Spanish, whoever you are. You can be a guy, a girl, skinny, fat, short, tall. You can be anything you want to be. It doesn't care as long as you get up and go to work every day.
Right.
And
It's
as
the
long as you do the
consistency.
same thing right every day.
There it is. And that's what I was just about to say, and that's something that I've been beating into our team, and our team just keeps getting more and more profitable. I'm doing these mastermind sessions, and we talk about everybody that I know that's extremely successful in real estate. It's showing up every day and doing good actions consistently over an extended period of time. There's no magic recipe other than that. The challenge is what are the right actions? What are the good actions that they should be doing? Which is why I always preach you should get a coach. You should get a coach if you don't have it, and also the accountability. But I see that's the biggest issue for investors and agents is just being consistent, showing up every day. So I usually end up saying, I know what I used to make. So here it was. I did 20 plus years in the Corps. I had been in for a while. I had obtained some rank. I had gone to combat. I have destroyed my body. I have destroyed myself emotionally and mentally in a lot of different ways. And I was making, like, when I was really killing it, like $7,000 a month.
I'm
And
sorry.
yeah, right. And it's one of those things where, okay, so here it is. Now I have the ability. So passively, our business, I make anywhere from 20 to 50, sometimes $60,000 a month, not to include the deals that I create on my own. So I was willing to go into work when it was dark and go home when it was dark, and then spend most of the weekends away, or be going 1 to 2 weeks a month, and then be gone and deployed 6 months every other year, if not for a year every other year. But I'm not willing to show up to freaking work in the morning and actually put in a good day's work to do specific actions consistently over an extended period of time. It's insane to me. It's
Right.
absolutely insane. And that's why so many people fail, I think, when it comes to real estate. So, I'm a
Well,
huge fan of accountability and coaching. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they fail because they've been failing,
Hmm.
and
Interesting.
they don't know how to succeed. A lot of people don't know the secret to success, and that is go find out what it looks like.
Right.
When
Yeah.
I decided when I thought I was successful at one point in my life, and I wanted to be more successful, I wanted to have a bigger house. So being a broker in California, I had this little lockbox key. I can get access to a house for sale, right?
Right.
It was. I wanted to see what it would feel like to own a mansion. So I went and I viewed a mansion, but I didn't just view it. I laid on the rich man's bed, closed my
Yeah.
eyes. My head was on his pillow. I wanted to see what or feel what it would feel like, see what it would look like, opening my eyes as I laid on this rich man's bed. It felt friggin' awesome.
Right.
Go down and, I drive a Rolls Royce now, not because I'm lazy, but because I go to work, right?
Right.
And and
And it's a nice Rolls Royce too.
it's
That
nice.
Wraith is awesome.
I like it. But we do things on purpose. And as long as we continue to do things that are working, that are on purpose, then we'll be successful. it's not a lottery ticket, right?
Right.
If life is a lottery ticket, shame on us.
Well, it seems like that's what everybody wants. And, not to get into politics, I'll try to avoid it as much as possible. Sometimes I get into it, but it just blows my mind sometimes how it's almost like an expectation. It's a what's the word I'm looking for, Michael? It's like, because I'm here and I'm an American,
They
I
deserve it.
deserve something.
Yep.
I deserve X. And you know what? Nobody owes you anything. You don't deserve anything. You got to work for it. And that's why I don't feel bad when agents come to me and they're like, oh, I just don't know why. I actually had one the other day. I don't know why it's not working, this, that, and the other. Can you tell me how to do this? I'm like, sure, join my team. And
Absolutely.
yeah, you join my team and I'll absolutely show you and I'll hold you accountable and I'll make sure that you're successful. Otherwise, I don't, there's not much I could say to you. Just so you know, I got a question in here. I'm going to post it up.
Oh,
Joshua Rico, this is a guy I was talking about earlier. It says, can you do a wholesale cold call script role play? So maybe we could definitely build that in here in a few minutes, Rico. If you're good with that, Michael, you good with that? Like I'll
yeah.
call you and we'll just run through it.
Anything. It's pretty simple. You know,
Yeah.
let, someone could have never bought a house before. Remember, because I was someone that never bought a house before, right?
Right.
The first time I had never done it before, and I was an adult teenager. All I did is pick up the phone and call someone and ask them what I didn't know. And one of the questions I always ask someone when I'm done with the conversation is, what didn't I ask you? Most people that represent who I am ask you,
Right.
and they'll tell you what you didn't ask, and you write it down. You remember, and next time you just ask it that again, and then you ask that person, what didn't I ask you? People share information freely as long as we come across professional. If I call someone up and I say, Kris, I've never done this before, I'm so afraid to do it, don't take my business on because I don't know if I can keep you out of harm's way. You're not going to do business with me. But if
Right.
I call you up and I say, Kris, I'm looking for a real estate professional in your marketplace to add to our team. This year we're doing about 200 transactions. They're all cash deals. Can you consider me or can you apply for the opportunity? You're going to say yes.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
how I come across. And where do you find deals? How do you find deals? How do you find sellers that are willing to sell to you at a discount or list it at 100%? You pick up the telephone. You do some sort of a marketing plan. You
Right.
answer the phone when it rings. Certainly, you call the person back. You follow up on purpose. I mean, we rarely get a deal on the first inbound phone call, right?
Right. Yeah. Follow up.
I mean, everybody expects that instant gratification. Well, if they're not interested today, that didn't work. That marketing didn't work. Well, did you call them back in 3 days? Did you call them back in 5 days? How about 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, 6 days, 90 days? What did you do between the times you called them back? Did you send them a text? Did you send them an email? Did you send them a voice blast? Did you ask them to do business with you down the road? Did you ask for referrals? Because this is a relationship nurture building business, which
Right.
realtors should be really good at, but I don't know why they're not good at it and good at real estate investing.
Right. It may be consistency. So what I love that you said you're going to look up an algorithm because you want to find a location. After you find the location, you're going to run your algorithm. So you're going to basically take a bunch of data and you're going to put together so you can figure out which areas are really the ones that are potentially primed or rich to go out and start running campaigns. Now, as we know, campaigns could be like me personally. I love cold calling. It's something that I do very well at. And plus I can hit a high volume. I have a dialer, high volume. You could do direct mail. You could do online leads. You could do text campaigns. There's a lot of different things that you could do. What else? Can you think of anything else as far as going out to try to touch the initial touch?
Well, and it's one of my pet peeves, but in my cell phone, I have about 200 people. If you get into my cell phone, that's because you and I have a relationship.
Okay.
My wife's cell phone, on the other hand, she's got like 2,000 people in her cell phone. I mean, everybody that she's ever communicated in the past with, in their cell phone. How many people, if we looked at our cell phone right now and we said, okay, we have 200 people, have called each one of those people over the last 30 days and said, Kris, hi, Michael Quarles. We know each other, so it shouldn't be hard to say hello.
Right. Right.
Hi, Kris, Michael Quarles. After careful consideration and a lot of thought, I've decided to become a real estate professional. I knew that you would be one of the people I could count on to help me out. What I'm looking for today is if you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell a piece of property, please keep me in mind when they bring that conversation up to you. Do you happen to know anybody that's looking to sell?
Right.
And you're going to say yes or no, right?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I'm going to talk to you in 30 days.
And then
We're
you're top of
friends.
mind.
Yeah. So
That's
what you
awesome.
do is we have 22 days work days in a month because I don't believe in working weekends. Some people do, I don't. You take your list, divide it up by 22. That's how many people you call today. And
Right.
just do it every day. There are center of influence. The 6 degrees of separation is a real theory. It will work. And that's the basic of what you should do. I love cold calling too. 9 and 11 every day, 2 hours. Cold
Yep.
call.
Yep.
Hi,
Yep.
my name is Michael Quarles with I Buy Houses. We're looking for 3 and 4 bedroom homes in your neighborhood. Who do you know that's planning on selling? No one. F off. Click. I am. I don't care. I know I can talk to 16 people an hour. I know that if I get 9 appointments, I'm gonna buy a house. I know if I'm calling cold, it's 1 in 100. If I'm calling expireds, FSBOs, active for rents, it's between 1 in 15, 1 in 25. So I have
Right.
like 60 hours to every time I make $30,000. Why wouldn't I want to invest 60 hours to make 30 grand?
Right.
I don't get
Exactly.
it.
That's awesome. Now you just said something, and I want to back up on that because I've heard you say it before on one of your podcasts. So it's funny because I don't know of any other investor or investors that communicate online that talk about this. You had mentioned for sale by owners, you mentioned expireds and cancels. So tell me, as an investor, why would you go after those individuals?
Because they want to sell.
There it is. Love it. They want to sell.
Yeah, but you're going to go after cold too because you don't have enough of those other people. Let's
Right.
face it, you're on the phone for 2 hours. You don't quit until you've succeeded the 2 hours.
Right.
You don't stop at an appointment. I got an appointment. I'm going to go. No, you have 2 hours here, and shame on you if you quit early. That just means you're a quitter in life, and
Right.
it's okay. We need quitters. We need
Oh
the
yeah, we
people.
do.
Successful wouldn't be successful if everybody was. So
That's the truth.
we need quitters. It's all right.
Well, I
But
love that you do that. I just think it's so unique, and the best part is that they're all looking to sell. And just recently, we started implementing that same concept. I heard you talk about. I'm like, we need to start giving all of our cash pitches to all these people, and that's what we've been doing. We're actually getting more appointments because of it. We're actually pitching a cash deal, and they're bringing us in. And most of the time, it's not a cash deal, but they have a need.
right.
They have a need. They want to sell. So if we can't do a cash deal while we're here, let me show you what else we could do to get it sold.
So on my outbound or inbound script, depending on which direction the call goes, we learn if there's motivation. So the first question we ask is, do you have a house you're hoping to sell?
Mm-hmm.
The word hoping is critical. It's I remember when I was a kid, I was always hoping for something nice for Christmas. Never got it, but I was always hoping. So it's one of those words that we can't count on, but
Right.
we need it. Second question, is it listed with a real estate professional? Because if it is, I can't communicate with them. I mean, sure, legally I could buy a house. I just don't want to jeopardize their contract with their agent. It wouldn't be professional for me. And why would I think that anybody that was contracted with a real estate professional wouldn't get out of my contract if they would get out of theirs?
Right.
So we just don't go there. But the third question is, and it's the important question. We always have to ask this question, even if we're taking listings. We're going to always ask this question. If I were to send out an appraiser in today's marketplace, what do you think an appraiser would appraise the house for?
Hmm.
They can't say, I don't know. I was hoping you could tell me. Can you give me an idea? They can't say that because if they say it, they're either lying to me or they're not motivated.
Right.
I have to say, they have to say a value. Whether that value is true or not, I don't care. Because what I'm looking for is the mind frame. Because the fifth question is tell me. Because I'm going to convert them from how much do they want to put in their pocket and mortgages and liens that may be against the property. And I want those two numbers have to be at least 85 cents apart. Percent apart. I'm going to ask them for an address. I don't even
Right.
ask them for an address until I get this far. And when I get that motivation, then I can continue. But until I
Right.
find the motivation, there's no. So it's 5 simple questions. Get them off the phone. Get someone else on the phone.
You
See,
know,
this is a pure numbers game.
right. I love that you said it's a pure numbers game. And actually, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, crap, I need to change my script a little bit too, because based off of what you just said, I'm actually going in and saying, how much do you think that home is worth? I'm giving them, I just like, as I'm listening to you, I'm giving people an opportunity to have an out. And I'm probably spending too much time annihilating objections because of the simple words that are coming out of my mouth.
The reason I asked, by the way, for that appraiser's opinion of value is because we're going to use that, and when it's wrong, we can blame that phantom person. So if I ask the seller, what's your house is worth, what is your house worth, and they tell me and they're wrong, then I'm going to have a battle with that seller. I want to blame it on this other person,
That doesn't
this other
exist, right?
non-professional, and it works.
Yeah. I love that. That is smart, you know. And I've been sitting over here taking notes too, just because. I mean, that's. Now I'm sitting here like crap. I got to change the way I'm thinking. Oh, here's. I got another one and another question. And Rico, just so you know, we will definitely get back and make sure that we do that. So, question. This is from Samantha Harding. Do you all still have the scary feeling before getting on? Oops, somebody else just popped up. Scary feeling before getting on the phone to cold call. For me, it's still there, but after a few calls, it goes away. I'll tell you, for me, Samantha, and I'll ask Michael here in a second. For me, I still do, and I still always, like, in my heart, I want to avoid or come up with an excuse why I'm not going to call, but I deeply believe in living by time blocks. So I just get on the phone and I just do it. It's no different than the idea of going to the gym or really everything in life. I mean, there's things that we need to do that we don't always want to do, and you just got to do it. What do you think, Michael?
Everything I do in life, I'm afraid. There's not a single thing that I'm competent at that is not fear-based. Let me explain. I'm afraid to fail, so therefore I do.
Love it.
So I get on the phone not because I'm afraid or scared of the phone call or it's scary. I get on the phone because if I don't, I'm going to be poor, and that's scary.
That's really scary.
So any pain that I would have by picking up the phone and dialing is lessened or less than the greater pain of not picking up the phone and dialing.
Love it.
So go live as a home and picking up the phone and dialing more, right?
Yeah, there it is. So Samantha, if you, I love what he just said. It's like you have a choice. Do you want to be a homeless poor person, or do you want to be have some sense of freedom? If you want freedom, then hey, pick up the phone. That's that's pretty straightforward.
A lot of people, they say, I'm afraid to fail, so I don't do. Well, that's the wrong mind frame. Just go and do it, because that's the right mind frame. You know, not everybody's perfect. We're going to fall down as long as we get up and fall forward. So we're going to make mistakes. They're okay. Not making a mistake is the mistake.
Right.
That's what's wrong with the picture. But some of us just aren't willing to go and challenge ourselves. But I don't know anybody that has anything to speak about or have worth having that hasn't failed, hasn't fallen down. They just get back up.
True.
Life's a fist fight, man. We got to go after it every friggin' day. And the moment you think you have everything you need, you're done.
Yep, it's true. I got another one here. It says, Kris, you mentioned list source was too expensive. Is there a better list provided out there? If so, which method? Also, how much equity do you go for? Okay, so what you're talking about there, and I think I probably did that in a separate video. I use a different system. If you're looking at high volume, so for us, we use a lot of high volume where I want phone numbers, I want email addresses, I want to be able to will it down to equity, I want to be able to will it down to buyers and sellers. I use Cole Resource. I can probably post that up in the YouTube notes. List Source is pretty fantastic as well. It's just different. For me, I do a lot of high volume. I'm cranking out, whether it's text campaigns, things like that, I'm cranking out thousands per week. Tens of thousands actually, to go out and find stuff. But that's just for me. Michael, I mean, as far as your recommendations and trying to come up on a motivated seller list, do you use List Source? You think List Source is best, or do you have other recommendations?
I think anything we do falling forward is best. But I've used List Source for a long time. I don't think they're expensive. I don't think anything that gives me $30,000 back is too expensive, unless it costs more than $30,000.
Right.
Everything we do, I mean, if you take cold calling as an example, because hunting for the phone number is always the hard part. Finding the person who wants to answer a phone call from someone they don't know, they don't recognize, is always going to be the hard part. So go out and get a car magazine or a junk magazine. Someone put an ad in the Thrifty Knicker and the Penny Saver. I want to sell a refrigerator. I want to sell a 57 Chevy. I want to sell my old Datsun, something. When they get strange phone calls, they answer the phone.
Yeah.
All you say is, instead of saying, hey, I know you have a freezer for sale, you say, hi, Michael Quarles, I buy houses. We're looking for 3 and 4 bedroom homes in your neighborhood. And go on your pitch.
Yeah. So it's a numbers game, like we said earlier.
It's a numbers game.
It's a
And
numbers game, pure and simple. So, Rico, like I said, I don't view it as list source is too expensive. It just comes down to, for me personally, I use something different because I need multiple means, or I want multiple means, and I do things in a lot of high volume. So for me, the cost is I just view it differently. If I were paying on list source, I would be spending a lot more. However, if list source was what I was using, because of the amount of money that we make off of what we do, I would use it. So you just got to figure that out for yourself. Or if you don't have the capital on you, I love what Michael just said. There's a lot of different ways. You just got to get on and take action. I think that's a huge one, is just taking action of some sort.
One of
Yeah,
the things that we do that I think is another shame on us. We're creatures of habit, right? You have your favorite grocery store, your favorite gas station, your favorite diner, your favorite pub, right? We all do.
right,
Well, we need to stop that because everybody in your favorite place already knows you.
right,
You can't introduce yourself to them anymore. So now, if every time you filled up, you made sure it was a different gas station. Every time you got a Diet Coke, it was a different place to get a Diet Coke from. Every time you bought groceries, it was 5 of them and not one of them. Then you could stand in the line with your I Buy Houses shirt. I don't know if anybody notices,
Here, let
but
me here show them one more time, because I'm going to bring down that. There it
there
is.
it is, right there.
Perfect.
And they'll come up to you and they'll say, "Oh, so you buy houses? Yes. Did you have a house you're hoping to sell?" Kind of thing. You just have a
Right.
conversation. You just introduce yourself as a walking, talking real estate investor, real estate professional. People are going to cling on to you because people want leaders. If you're a follower, people will recognize it and you'll be sit down in the back of the room because no one wants that person. But if you're
Right.
a leader, if you get up and lead, people will follow you. Even another leader will follow you if you have what they need to follow.
Yep.
So
Yep.
let's go
100%
do it.
true. And I think what I love about what you just said is, um, it sounds like what you're saying is you just need to get out and create more conversations.
Yeah.
You just need to get out there, create more conversations, let people know exactly what you do. I buy houses. I help people sell houses. Whatever that might be, whatever you are or what you do, you have to create more conversations. So, and I think that's pretty great. Recently, I just started carrying more and more cards with me. I'm making it a conscious decision every day. I'm going to give out 10 cards to 10 different people I didn't know. I'm going to create a conversation, and it's harder than I thought it would be. I started this about, I don't know, probably a month and a half ago, and it's harder than I thought it would be. As a matter of fact, I'm dropping off my Harley in the Harley Davidson dealer, and this guy's walking by. Something falls out of his back pocket. I go to pick it up, and I look at it, and it's actually my card that was given to him by one of my buddies. And I said, "Hey, you dropped this." He says, "Oh, thanks, man. I was actually just talking to a friend of mine. I'm looking to sell my house." And I says, "Well, hey, by the way, that guy on the card, that's actually me. I'm Kris. Nice to meet you." Stuck out my hand. We started talking, looking to schedule an appointment. So yeah, just start more conversations. I love it.
Let me give you a little trick on helping people get over that fear of handing out a business card to someone that's a stranger.
Yeah.
We all think, well, I don't have the right to invade your privacy, your personal space. Here you are, you're enjoying whatever you're doing. I don't have the right to come up to you and have a conversation because I don't know you, right?
Right.
Let's make it easy. I'll challenge anybody listening. In fact, I'll challenge you, Kris. Take
Okay.
a $100 bill, a crisp $100 bill, and multiply it by 3 times. So you have $300 in your hand. Go and give to 3 different people $100. Don't hand a $100 bill to them, but they're having dinner. They're at the grocery store. They're buying something that's important to them that they would spend $100 for, and say, "Let me get that for you." You don't have any reason to. You don't know them. The fear is going to be greater than handing them a business card because now you have to get inside of their personal space of handing someone money.
Right.
A lot of people won't take it. It'll be hard to give that $100 away 3 times. But when you do, then you'll realize the conversations you have to have with a stranger to introduce yourself, to
Right.
be invited into their world.
Right. I
And then
like
handing
that.
out business cards, no big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I would imagine it would open up a lot of opportunity and adjustment and growth for you individually. But I think on top of that, I think the reason why I genuinely don't have any fear, and this is going back to the question that you asked there, Samantha. The reason why I personally don't have any fear is because I deeply believe what I do, I deeply believe that we help people, especially when it comes to cash deals. I hate walking away from an appointment where I just did one recently. We're in Carlsbad, and this lady, she's trying to find every angle to hold on to this condo. And I warned her, I says, look, if you don't work with me today, you're going to try to call me about a week before they take your house, and I won't be able to help you. So I believe in what I'm doing. I know what we're doing is helping people, and it's no different than handing them $100 bill. Now it turns out she says, no, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get roommates. And sure enough, she called me a week before she lost her house, and she lost it all. And I told her, I was like, it was too late. I tried, but we couldn't do it. I view it as I am giving them value. I am giving them money. I am doing something to change their life. And, to me, I just don't even blink. I don't even blink when I give out cards anymore. I don't blink when I give a phone call. Not everybody's going to want to talk to me. That's okay. There's somebody out there that this is going to change their life. It's going to help them start a new chapter of their life. It's going to help them close an old chapter. I believe in it so deeply that I think that's why we've found success. But that's just me.
I always said, something I try to teach all my students is you always answer the ethical question first. So if it's ethically correct, fall forward, soldier.
Right.
Then it has to be morally correct. Then it has to be legally correct, in that order, because something can be legal and not moral, or it could be unethical. But if it's ethical, it'll fall in line. So if you do everything correct, all we are doing is helping people. And people always ask me they ask me all the time. The big question I always get is, why would anybody sell you their house at 65 cents on the dollar if they could just find a real estate professional to sell it for them? That's because my cash is valuable to them. It's a guaranteed payment.
Right.
They don't want to put their house on the market, go through the embarrassment of what they believe is embarrassment. It's not. It's just what they believe.
Right.
And go through the process of traditional real estate. They're going to sell it to me at 65 cents on the dollar. I'm going to find you to sell it for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that. And we can't convince anybody to do something that they don't want to do reasonably. So, like, if you wanted, I could buy your mansion, the house you live in right now, for probably $1 billion, correct?
Sure.
Right. It's sold tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Done.
But I couldn't buy it for $1, right?
Hell no.
And those are the two extremes, right?
Right.
If those are the two extremes, in order for me to buy it for $1, you have to want to sell it to me for $1, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not a darn thing I could ever say or do to convince you to sell it to me for $1. I can point out the reality of it, that you're going to be losing your condo, and if you don't sell it to me today, you're going to lose. I can point out the realities and describe them in a method with embedded commands, pacing, neurolinguistics, positive, negative reinforcements, all those good things, but you still have to be motivated.
Right.
I cannot create motivation.
True.
I can uncover it. I can determine if it's there correctly, but I can't create it.
Right on. I can't believe we're almost through a whole hour on this. So what I want to do is I want to back up real quick. I want to do this role playing real quick. Yeah. And after that, I kind of want to go deeper into what you provide, because, I think anybody that watches Real Estate Blitz, I go out of my way not to pitch. I don't like pitching products, especially if I'm not a fan of it, if I haven't tried it. And if because I'm not getting paid. You're not paying me to pitch what you have. Right?
Can I make this easier for you?
Sure.
Okay, so we've known each other a few years now.
Couple.
And probably all the years that you've known me, you've never known that I didn't charge for coaching, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Which is quote unquote the pitch part. One of my goals that I had for 2019 that I set for myself is I no longer want to charge for coaching.
Wow.
So in 2019, I turned off the credit card payment device, but I still offer coaching. So we have a class every day that they're open for everybody. They're free. You don't have to give me money, and I won't take it anyway. But I call it my apprentice program, and we help a lot of people learn this business the way it should be learned, the ethical way.
Right.
The correct way from a systems perspective, the correct way from a goals perspective. Because without systems and goals, you're really not in business. You're dreaming at best.
Yeah,
I know you guys
I'm
both got them
gonna
on deck.
blast that everywhere. I did not know that that's what's going on. And here's the thing, because it's midday, we're only going to get so many views. I think by the end of today on this video, we'll probably get a couple thousand views. And then when I drop it on YouTube and of course in the other areas that I have, we're going to get thousands of people that'll see this. And for everybody that's watching, if you didn't just hear what Michael said, if you don't take advantage of it, you're a goofball. I'm sorry, but you're a goofball. And actually, people are actually putting up hearts and big wows and everything else on the comments here. So, Michael, if somebody wanted to go and try out this free coaching, try it. Just do it. Okay. If
Right.
somebody's going to go and do this free coaching, how would they find that?
My name is my website, michaelquarles.com. There's a button that says free apprentice program, and you can't buy any other coaching. So it's not like I'm upselling you because there's nothing to upsell. But I'm doing it because, and I don't want to get too spiritual on you, and I'll try not to.
Okay.
But I'm doing it because I started in the real estate business years ago because I wanted to be a millionaire. The reality of life, right? We want to be rich. We want to be successful, whatever success means, right?
Right.
Then we have children and families and wives and friends, and then we want to stay a millionaire and get more millions so we can help those people around us succeed in their life, right?
Right.
It was a couple years ago. I used to buy homeless signs from homeless people.
Right.
My trunk was full of them. But a couple years ago, I realized what I really want to do is I want to be rich so that I can do things for the person I have yet to meet. Because that to me is success. So I'm living a life now where my goal is to help that person in the future. I don't know yet.
Right.
And I'm going to help him or her in a way that causes them to be successful. The only way I can do that is to give away my knowledge.
Right.
Give it to somebody who will take it, use it, put it with something else they know, become a great person who then can give it away to somebody they don't know. So that's the cycle I'm on today. That's why
That's pretty awesome. And that's actually pretty inspirational to me. I mean, I started the Blitz with no intent of other than, basic coaching for a real estate agent. And I'm talking about not even really good coaching. It starts at about $600 a month, and you talk to somebody maybe for 30 minutes every other week. And the 30 minutes is usually eaten up by you spouting off a bunch of numbers that really mean nothing. And they still don't give you any actionable, usable items to put into your business in order to actually create a profit to cover that $600 cost. As you become more successful, so example, I just had a different coach on from a program that I actually like, and because of the amount of money that I make now within my business, I would be starting at about $3,500 a month. Okay, still getting a lot of the same services that somebody that's paying $600 a month is, and it's really hard to break into this industry. And let me rephrase. I'll go back to what I really mean. But for a lot of agents in their mind, they believe it's very hard to break into this industry because they are unable to get coaching, they're unable to get guidance, and they're unable to get actionable items that they can put into their business. Now, I think that's a mindset. Personally, I think that's 100% mindset, because you got podcasts, you got YouTube, there's so many things that are out there. So with that said, I was like, I started putting together the Real Estate Blitz to help train my team, because our team was getting so damn big, especially when we had our brokerage of 100 plus agents. I couldn't talk to all of them. So I was like, go watch these videos or this series that I would create so you can learn what you're supposed to do. But now it's kind of turned into like I'm running with this flag of, with Purple Brick and Redfin and all these other people out there trying to, they're disrupting the market and trying to take our jobs or businesses, depending on how you view it. I just figured I would start putting out content and information to try to help, or I would go interview people that were smarter and better than me to push people in their direction. If it's a coach, go check out these coaches. If it's somebody that's an expert in this, go check them out, because I'm not the expert at everything. Investing is one of those things, and I think I had mentioned to you earlier, I wouldn't mind getting on at maybe 10, 15 minutes a month to talk about a new niche for investing for real estate agents, the next thing that they could get into. Because in my opinion, if the disruption that's taking place with the real estate market, real estate agents, I think you need to start looking. I think agents need to start looking towards the future and what other angles they could do. I'm already teaching everybody on our team about investing, because if the market goes completely south and we can't list a house or help somebody buy a house, we are still going to be flipping houses, whether that's wholesale, wholetail, or fix and flips. I'm still going to be in business. I don't plan on slowing down ever.
One of the things I like about being the principal in the real estate transaction is, I mean, as an agent, prior to me being a broker, I can remember the day that my buyer called me, or my buyer's agent called me up as the listing agent and said their buyer wanted the fence replaced, and we're 2 days from close.
Right.
And my seller wouldn't spend the $600 to fix the fence, replace the fence. It was stupid. We're 2 days away, everybody. Stupid. So then both brokers or both agents got together and we ponied up $300 a piece.
Right.
I don't have that problem now because I am the guy. I'll spend $600 to make a seller or buyer happy. I don't care. My job is to buy and sell houses, and I can do it so much easier as a real estate professional, as the principal, than I can as the broker, the agent, the realtor.
Yep.
You guys have a job. You really do, and mine's not that hard.
Yeah. See, and that's what I was saying. So I think, I call it a job. And I've actually had this is my business. Now look, tell me about your business then. Nope, that's a job. It's a job. And that's okay. To me, there's nothing wrong with that, but call it what it is. It's a job. In order to create a business, let's say if you're a real estate agent or let's say agent specifically. If you're a real estate agent, it's actually building, sort of like what I'm doing right now. And I still have a job right now because we started rebuilding our team. I walked in, I had a brokerage, 100 agents. We had a lending business. I had 5 lenders. We had a escrow business. We had escrow officer, all that jazz. And I just looked around and I'm like, this sucks. It's not what I want anymore. So I decided in December to burn it all down. I walked away from it and I wanted to rebuild a high producing, profitable team. But this time around, actually building in systems, processes, and employees. So eventually I can own a business. But until then, it's a job. It is what it is.
And having a job, like you said, is okay. A lot of us want to have a JOB. We just want to make a lot of money in our JOB, right?
Right.
So the passive part of a business, because that's really what a business is, it's a passive earning mechanism. Mm-hmm. We inside the business may be massive earners, but it's still a passive business. And I'll get both of those. I mean, being a real estate investor, I'll never lose the knowledge that I have. Like I'll always know how to do what I do. And you could plot me into any city in a month, I'll buy $1 million worth of property net. And it's never going to leave me.
Right.
It would be great if everybody on the call knew that they had that in them and they could do that, because then it wouldn't be a JOB, it would be a vacation every day.
Hell yeah.
If you knew that the simple things that you could do to find sellers who want to sell to you at a discount, you'll never forget that. And now everywhere you are, you'll be able to do it. I mean, I've bought in houses when I was in Hawaii, when I was in Mexico, in the United States, because we buy virtually. We don't have to see the house. We don't have to see the seller. If you know how to do it, it's pretty simple.
Right on. I just put up michaelquarles.com. So everybody, again, free coaching. If you're an agent, free coaching. If you're an investor, free coaching. This is just, it's awesome.
It's not free. It's I don't charge you anything, but
right.
Life isn't free. So they're going to exchange their time, which they could, I guess, be doing something else to learn how to make massive amounts of money.
Love it. Love it.
It's free, but not necessarily free.
You got to give up that energy. That's sweat equity.
But most people won't get off the couch. I had a student the other day ask me how does he take his business to the next level? And I said, well, what'd you do yesterday? And he says, well, I got out of bed at 10 o'clock. I said, you're not ready to take it to the next level, because until you can't do any more in a single day, you can't compound it. You can't add to it.
Right.
And that's the reality of life. The coffee cup has made a lot of people lazy. They stand around the coffee machine waiting for the coffee to be ready, and it's never ready. They just need to go to work. Just go to work.
Yeah. Get it. So, Michael, before we hop off, is there anything else you want to pass along? Because I got this up here. No. Just got another question. Do you want to mention any of your other businesses or anything else like that? If somebody wants to look out, or if they're looking for other products?
We could, but it's not who I am.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be nice to talk about. Of course, I have a direct mail company that you talked about. I have a phone company that you spoke about. I have my coaching that I give away now. I have a real estate investment business, which is kind of cool. I own neighborhood print centers, and I seem like I have my hand in a lot of things. I figured, owning a business, every task is pretty much the same. We may have a different widget, but the systems and the structure and the goal setting are very, very similar. And so you can have multiple streams of income as long as you figure out how to have one stream of income. If you can't figure that one out, you can't have multiple ones.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So I will put that into the show notes when I start posting this up where everybody can find other stuff. But I've been posting up where you can look up as far as the coaching. You can look up Michael Quarles as well. And, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. If you do want to start going like deeper into different niche things, definitely would like to do that at least once a month. I just want to start having more investor stuff on. I'm fearful for real estate agents where the industry is going, where it could go. And I just feel like, if agents don't start stretching out their legs a little bit more into other avenues, they may get screwed,
Well, I always tell people, or at least last few years, we are in the hardest time and the easiest time for real estate. If we don't evolve in today's time, we're going to be out of it. But let's face it, to buy and sell something today is so much easier and so much harder than it was 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And there's reasons on both sides of that fence. The reality is everybody listening, if you bought, 12 houses a year, that's only 10 hours a month, right? But if you bought one a month, and now my median in my area is 235. So your median is probably 650, right?
Right. Down south, 650, 450, up north in our markets.
My 30,000 would be 75 to you. Well, if the average person put another $75,000 in their pocket every month, would they really care about what the real estate business was doing and where it was going and how to stay in it or on it or with it? Would they really care if they knew how to be self-sufficient and self-supporting, where they didn't need the thing that drove them? If they could just drive their own car, their own thing, would they really care?
No.
Yeah.
They sure would.
Freedom is nice, guys.
That's true freedom.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
And it's funny because I mention this every now and again. I only stretch back to the 70s and 80s as far as my age. But, it just seems like in order to be free anymore, in order to be above all of the crap, especially when it comes to politics, you have to have money. It seems like the only way you could truly be free anymore, the only way that you can live the life that you want to live, the only way you can not be bothered is if you have money. Otherwise, you're at the whims of whomever chooses to freaking come after you. And I want not only financial freedom, but I want emotional freedom. I want physical freedom. I want freedom for my family. And it used to be whether you had a piece of land, you could do whatever you want. You can't even do whatever the hell you want with your own land anymore. I mean, it's just, especially because we're both in California. This place it's a trip. California reminds me of like that really, really close friend that I love, but they're just a complete disaster. They're emotionally broken. They're always in some new freaking drama. They're always broke, and I love them. But God, they just can't get their act together.
Some days it's hard to love California.
So anyways, Michael, hey, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it. And I think this is going to be fantastic online for those that were watching and for those that are going to be watching this after when we get done going live. Do me a favor, leave comments, like, share, comment, especially on YouTube. I'll make sure if there's specific questions that weren't answered here, either if there's a lot, I'll get Michael back on, or I'll pass the information along. I'll reply to it any way that I can. But thank you so much for watching. The real estate blitz, every day it seems like it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It was never my intent. It's just sort of what's happening. And I'm hoping I can continue to just bring on people that are of value to you. I'm hoping I can continue to put out stuff that's of value to you. And I don't know. I'm just trying to change people's lives. So thanks again, Michael. It sounds like you're trying to do the same thing. Go check out michaelquarles.com. And that's all we got. Michael, if you hold on 2 seconds, I'm going to sign off here, and then I'll speak with you for 2 seconds. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.